Okay, this is like the third time I'm recording this, so let's do it right this time.
I'm back at it.
Alright, it's almost the end of the year, and I wanted to talk about Marvel a little bit, particularly the new Blade movie and Werewolf by Night, the TV special that just came out on Disney+. Now, apparently Blade is having some troubles. Apparently the director just bowed out, or he's still the producer technically, I guess, executive producer, but currently Blade is on production hold until they find a new director. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of scared. I'm getting Edgar Wright syndrome with Ant-Man again.
Not again.
Apparently there's been script rewrites as well, which, I'm guessing is not that out of the ordinary. But I can't but help but wonder if Marvel's having so much trouble with Blade is because they're trying to MCU-ify him.
No, God!
And as much as I was looking forward to Blade coming to the MCU when they first announced him back in San Diego Comic-Con back in 2019, it's Blade. It's the movie that pioneered modern-day superhero movies. And of course, it's Mahershala Ali. Guy's a great actor, and after they stupidly killed his character in Luke Cage,
What the fuck?
I was hyped to see him back in another Marvel property. But if Marvel is really trying to make Blade have the same tone as every single Marvel property that we got going on, I don't know if I really want to see it. I made a video a couple months back saying that I think Blade has one of the best superhero entrances and superhero movies, and mostly because I feel like Blade in those old movies, he just had a presence. When he entered a room, you noticed him. He had a tone of his own, and I just hope that Marvel isn't forcing Blade to fit the MCU formula that they shoved into an algorithm. Seriously, ever since Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, every single character in the MCU sounds the same. Every single MCU property feels the same, and I don't want that same feeling with Blade. I mean, that's probably the best thing about the new TV special that Marvel has put out, Werewolf by Night. Really the most unique thing Marvel has done in a while. Finally, after just force-feeding us mediocre movies and shows, Marvel has decided to grace us with something decent.
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
Werewolf by Night is only an hour long, and I cared more about the characters and what was going on than most of the shows and movies that Marvel has been putting out in Phase 4. It's just a simple horror-esque story about a dude who turns into a werewolf. That's it. It felt like a risk, more of a risk than Guardians of the Galaxy, because these characters are even more obscure. I mean, how many people remember that Marvel actually used to make horror comics? Yeah, that's right. Comic books are not just superheroes. I know that might be strange because those are only comics that usually do well, but yeah, I really feel like Marvel took a risk. Like, this didn't feel like something they just put in an algorithm and pushed out. The director,
Michael Giacchino,
seemed like this was what he really wanted to make, because he not only directed this, he composed the music as well. Like, this felt like a passion project. A lot of the effects, including the film grain and the cigarette burns, the sound effects, would feel goofy and normally, but it just the aesthetic that the director's going for, the old school horror movies that came out in the 30s and 50s, it just worked for this. I mean, I just really enjoyed this more than I thought I would, especially the action. It just felt different. That's another thing with the MCU. All the action really feels the same nowadays. Nothing stands out. Hello, this is Future Nate editing this right now, and I forgot to mention, I kind of glossed over the action real quick, but the action is really good in this. It's probably my favorite part. Seeing Jack Russell as the werewolf, the Man-Thing, Elsa Bloodstone, we get some really unique fight scenes of this, and I gotta admit, it is nice to see blood in the MCU. It's black and white, mind you, but still. Dudes get disintegrated in this, ears getting bitten off, heads are getting split, arms are getting chopped off. I mean, you don't see action like this in the MCU. I mean, one of the darkest scenes in this, Elsa Bloodstone cuts a dude's arm off, then stabs him through the throat, and while he's choking on his own blood, she smothers him at the same time.
You fuck with that, I let you choke on your blood.
And I'm kind of hoping that Blade takes the same route. I mean, the original Blade movies weren't the bloodiest thing in the world. I just really hope that Marvel doesn't do the same thing to Blade that Sony is doing with their properties, like with Morbius and Venom, and just taking out the blood altogether. I get your main target audience is kids, but
Fuck them kids.
I mean, honestly, once you go from in-game, what more can you really do? Which is why I really wish that Marvel would do more small, scaled-back stories. That's the biggest problems I have with movies like Shang-Chi and Black Widow, which I enjoyed, but Black Widow should have just been a simple espionage spy movie. Shang-Chi should have just been a kung fu movie. But in the third act, they do what every third act do. They go big, they go bombastic, characters flying through the air, explosions. It really just felt unnecessary. I mean, Shang-Chi has a dragon in his first movie. Where do you go from there? That's another thing. Characters like Moon Knight, which could have easily been a movie in my opinion. I enjoyed Moon Knight until the very last episode where there's a giant kaiju battle in there. Now normally I would think that was cool, but I'm like, what are you going to do for season 2 when you bring this character back? When you already had a giant Power Ranger fight scene in your season finale? Where do you go from there? I just really hope Marvel takes notes from Werewolf by Night and maybe realize you don't have to do big bombastic stories. And if you are going to do them right. Save them. It's kind of hard to enjoy these new characters that are coming out, just the next thing in the MCU chain. It really sucks too, because a lot of these Marvel TV shows I was really looking forward to. It started off high with Scarlet Witch until, once again, it falls into the MCU formula. And it just goes downhill from Loki all the way to She-Hulk. And quite frankly, I'm having a hard time even finishing some of these TV shows, which I wouldn't not have a problem with the movies. Which I really shouldn't have a problem with, because most of these shows are only like 6 to 8 episodes. Most of them are only like 30 minutes long, so a little bit shorter if you take away the credits. But for some reason, these shows are so damn hard to finish. At this point, my hope is we get in Black Panther at the end of the year, and hopefully Phase 5 is just a little bit smoother and spaced out. I never thought I would get superhero fatigue. I never thought. But at this point, I really do feel the weight of all these shows just on my back. And I really just hope Marvel just slows down just a little bit. Just please, Marvel, please, Feige, you don't have to keep switching your hats, okay? Calm down. At this point, it looks like we're not going to get Blade until 2024, at least that's what the reports are saying. At this point, I'm just praying that it's good. But what do you guys think? Have you seen the new TV special Werewolf by Night? What did you think about it? What do you think about this Blade news? Let me know down in the comments below. Once again, like this video. Do all the things that YouTube likes to keep me afloat. Once again, I'm going to try to get that She-Hulk video out soon. Also, while you're at it, check out my newest podcast if you haven't.
The whole episode just made me done. That last part, like, I literally threw my notebook. I was like, I'm
Is
done.
this show for people who don't watch Lord of the Rings? Because I was like, if you watch Lord of the Rings, clearly this is Mordor. Why did they do that at the end? I thought they were literally going to do a cross, like an X, and say Mordor. I was like, and then dun dun dun. Like, it was so goofy. Link will be in the description below. It's called Nonstop Fights. I do it once a week with my sister, where we just talk about action movies. Well, at least we'll try to. We usually get off topic. Check it out. Subscribe for more. Once again, I've been Nate. This is Infinite Repeat. Stay up.